So when you take a look at this particular image, it has the layer 1 with a lot of these items, the first one being this pen, second one has the guides, and the third one has the logo. So you can toggle this layer closed, and in the blank area just double click in order to dim it down or temporarily lock it down so you can see through it, and then just get a new page. I'm just going to option and click so it forces the window to show the options for this, and I'm just going to type in graphic. The color is red. I might change this just to a gold or dark green. I'll go brown. Okay. So what you're trying to do is make a dimensional piece of this pen, and you have to take a look at the shapes that you make, and the ruler guide right down the middle there. So that's going to be something that will help you cover it. And you want them to be flush to that ruler guide, meaning right on that line. So I zoom in real close, and I can click on this to make the tip of the point right here, and just come straight back. Hold the shift key if you want to keep it perfectly straight, and right up at the top. Now this little extension that you see is just the stroke showing that edge. So when you click on this stroke, the limit of this is going to minimize that down, and it'll give you corner points on the inside, aligning the stroke on the outside. It'll give you corners, so that's all good right there. Okay, so just to deselect it, hold the command and click, and then P for pen tool, and it lets you come over to this side. Now it's pretty large only because it's close up. So when you come up on the side here, you want to make sure that you have your window, and you can take a look at all these sections under view and smart guides. I'm just going to click so they're on, and what happens is it tells me that I'm right on that anchor point. Shift key to come over to this side, and then dropping down here, and then just shift key and keeps it straight. If you remember, I'm right on the guide, and then just close it up right on that anchor point. So it makes that segment. I can select this and take off the fill, and then command click deselect, so now I don't have that fill selected, and makes it a little bit easier to see. And come out this direction, and shift key this part here, and right on the segment there, and that gives me that piece. So I'm just trying to go as close as I can so you can see it, obviously, but then also giving myself the advantageous part of having it zoomed in nice and close. So I'm just going to come down here, and you can see the pen is just a picture scan, and so it has the edge to it, and you want to make sure all those are pretty close to the edge. If you overlap them, you can just cut them out later, but it makes it a little bit easier just to make that segment. So here's the last part of it, is the shaft. So here's the anchor point, intersecting it down here. Just shift keying it way down at the bottom, keeps it perfectly straight, right on the path, and right on the anchor point. So that gives me that particular selection there. So now I just zoom into the bottom, the pen tool again. Here it is on the anchor point. I'm going to come in just a little bit, make sure it's on the path, and just curve this ever so slightly, and shift key it back down here. That gives me this anchor point. Now if any of those are off, let me show you what you can do. So I tried to make it so that everything was just right on there, but if you're off, you can also clip it with the shape builder, so if they're not perfectly aligned, and what I'll do is I'll just make a copy of this just to show it to you. So I just option and set this over here with the shift key, makes a copy of it. I can take the direct selection tool, which is the hollow white area, and make a selection just on the edges of all these points here, and just bump them over. But before I do that, let me show you. Just bumping around. I'm going to do all of them except for the top two. See if I can. They should all be lined up pretty good though. So let's take a look. So with all of these selected, just going to move it over here and take the eyedrop tool, because it now has a stroke. And I'm just going to click on this blue, and it loses the stroke. And remember, you don't want to have a stroke on the 3D pieces, so click clicking on this one. If I click up here, you'll see there's only no colors, so what you have to do is go into the swatches. Down in the library in the lower left of the menu, you're going to see default swatches, and just go for print, art, or illustration. You'll get a similar set, and just drag these over by clicking the top left and the bottom, and just dragging all these up into this palette and just close them up. So now I have a selection that I can pick on. So that gives me that color, and I can go through this, and if I click on this blue, for example, the other option is you have the appearance color, graphics, color guide. Color guide will give you a tint of that blue. Same with this one. And I'll keep it as that solid blue. So that gives me this pen. Now, if I select all of this, actually let me make this bottom just a little bit different. And the top part is the pen is going to be gold. So just go back to the swatches and click on a gold color, and then go back to the color guide and give it that color. So now I have all of these pieces colored and select them. I'm going to go to Object and Group. So now they're grouped together. And then if I go to, I'll show you the 3D first, 3D, under Revolve, and now the pen is revolving 3D right here. If I move this out with the selection, you'll see the different parts of this as an isometric cube like we've been drawing, and it shows you that particular pen. The only thing missing right now is the logo and some of the lighting, so I'm just going to go to More Options, and this is the 3D sphere that acts as the lighting, and so you can click on the little lights and kind of adjust it on the screen into giving yourself that particular piece. Only thing missing is the logo that's right there. So I'm going to make sure that that piece is listed. If I go to the Layers panel, if I unlock this and open this part up, this is going to have the logo here. So this part right here is the logo. I'll Option and duplicate it, and then zoom into it. And I want to try to make this logo all light. So I double click on it to get it in the isolation mode. Double click on that, and just keep taking a look at it. This part right here is the rectangular shape, so I'm going to delete that part. Select all of this logo, go into the swatches panel, and just make that white. This part has the graphic with the stars, so just select the two of them. And under Pathfinder, just go in there and punch that out. And now I have this logo, just like the shirt. So now I have this part, just select it all. And make it just a little bit smaller with the Shift key held down. And while it's still highlighted, you want to go into the Symbols panel. And when you take a look, Symbols, a little clover leaf up here. And just click on it. And give it a title of logo. And now I click on this pen. And in order to modify anything that's in here, you go to the Appearance panel. And here's 3D Revolve, so it lets you open up this window so you can edit this. So now map art is what you're trying to do. You're mapping this selection. Tricky part is you have a lot of panels, a lot of edges. There's 27 of them. So you toggle through, and you'll see a little red highlight work its way down from the tip to the bottom until it gets to the panel that has the logo, or the location of the logo right about here. So it's on 24, but there's one right there. So now I just click inside this symbol, I click on logo, and you just rotate it. And now you have the Polaris logo on there, a little large, so you can just shrink it down a little bit to fit the scaling of it. And now you have the Polaris logo, and you want to click on Shade the Artwork. It'll go a little slower, but it'll keep it in there. And with this highlight, you can also click on Perspective just to show you. It'll taper it down a little bit. But that gives you this pen as a graphic. just going to set it right here. You can take the pen tool, and on the other side of this, you can just make a kind of a simple pen shape, like so. And taking a look at the gradient, I'll just click on the gradient, click the letter G for gradient, and just drag and stretch this out across this direction. And click on Effect, and go to Blur, Gaussian, and it's just going to soften up that edges there. And there you have this pen in 3D image that was created on the profile, grouped together, and that gives you that particular selection. When you tab key it, with the letter F, you can break it all apart to make a